What's good, Lightner Squad? It's your girl Chrissy Ray, and I'm doing a video today, kind of like a story time. It is a story time of a video that I feel like is long overdue, a video that has been requested by many family members, and a video that has also been put into my spirit to go ahead and release. And so with that being said, I am going to do the story on how we overcame the loss of our daughter. In the Bible, it is described as, it describes a child losing their parents, they're orphans, right? A husband losing a wife, he's a widower. A wife losing a husband, she's a widower, okay? When it comes down to a parent losing a child, there is no title and there's no description for that. It is called the ultimate loss, okay? So yes, we have suffered the ultimate loss. We have endured it, but we have also overcame. And so with this video, I want this to be like an inspiration to others, for other moms out there that have dealt with what I've dealt with. And to tell you that you can do it, chin up. And I know it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, you might still be going through it, but with God all things are possible and you can still live a good life. So with that being said, ever since I was a little girl, anytime anybody asked me what I wanted to be, I always told them I wanted to be a mother. Straight from the gate. I would take baby dolls to school with me. I would put them in little shoe boxes and make their blankets and beds out of Kleenex. I always wanted to be a mom. So as I was graduating from high school, I went ahead and enrolled into the medical assistant program. I got my own apartment, I got my own car, because I knew that I was not allowed to bring a baby into my mother's house. And for, the most important thing is that when you decide to have a baby with somebody, you want to make sure that you're going to have a mate that's going to stick by you no matter what, that's going to be in that child's life, that's going to be present in that child's life. And so I had my car, I had my apartment, and I had my boyfriend at the time, which is now my husband. I was set, I was ready to go. It was a rough pregnancy. I, wound up in the hospital multiple times because I had hyperemesis. I would literally sit down and get up screaming in pain because my tailbone was so raw. It was a rough pregnancy. I lost about 40 pounds with that pregnancy because I could not keep anything down. I was sick. I would go driving in my mom's car and I would come back with vomit all over me. Her car had like a new car scent, and I was like, I'm just gonna take it up the street for a little bit, come back, vomit all over me. So it was rocky, but throughout the whole, I cried a lot too in that pregnancy because I was so sick and I couldn't do anything, and just basically I was bedbound. I was literally bedbound. And the only thing that was on my mind was, it's okay, because you're gonna have this beautiful baby at the end of this journey. You're gonna have this beautiful baby at the end of this journey, and this will all be over and done with, and you'll have your baby. So me and my husband, LeVar, we moved out of our 1-bedroom. We got a 2-bedroom because, of course, we're bringing a baby in. We want her to have her own room. I got a room set up. I had a baby shower, car seat, hospital bag packed, everything ready to go, ready to meet my daughter. Okay. I remember it was like a Thursday, and I told my husband, I said, I'm not feeling right. Something's just not feeling right. And he said, well, call the doctor. So I called the doctor, and they were like, well, have you felt the baby move? And I was like, kinda, I guess. And they were like, okay, well, we don't want you to have to come all the way down here and have nothing wrong just for you to go back home. Mind you, I'm 3 weeks from my due date. And I'm like, okay, well, fine, I'll write it out. Monday gets there, and I'm just like, no, something's not right. I'm going in. I have to go in. And so I had my husband take me down to the doctor's office, and they lay me on the table. Of course, I'm in the room first, the little exam room, and they're over here trying to, the doctor's trying to find the baby's heartbeat, and she's like, that's weird, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, like, what's so weird? So then she's like, I'll be right back. So I'm like, okay. So then she comes back in with another doctor, and he tries to find the heartbeat, and nothing's there. And so I'm like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, we're just gonna take you upstairs and put you on our big ultrasound. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So they take me upstairs, me and my husband go upstairs, and they lay me on the table. They put me on the bigger ultrasound to look for the heartbeat. And they're looking around, and I'm seeing on the screen that it's just still. You know, my baby's not moving around, there's nothing. And they keep, you know, trying to find the heartbeat, there's nothing. And I remember all the doctors kind of turned to me and looked at me at the same time, and I said, well, is she okay? And they were like, no, you know, she's not okay. And I said, so she's dead? And they said yes. And I just remember like doing a blood curl cry. Like I just screamed out. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and I hate to say this, but the first thing that came to my mind was, I said, oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. And the doctors like put their hands on me. They were like, no, 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 don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. That was like my first thing that came to my mind, you know. And I said, okay, okay. And so I said, I wanna call my mom. Just let me call my mom. And they're like, fine. So I call my mom and I said, Mom, and she's like, yes. And I said, she's dead. And I will never forget my mother's scream. She screamed, and I just remember her saying, Lord have mercy. And I remember my sister being there. My mom was like, the baby passed, and then she's in the back crying, and it's just all this commotion. And at the time, I literally just dropped to the floor. I dropped to the floor. My husband had to come and get on the phone with my mom, and my mom's like, just bring my baby home, just bring my baby home. And he was like, I can't, Miss Sabrina, you know, I have to take her into the hospital. You know, she has to, you know, deliver this baby. And so I said, okay. She said, okay. So I remember leaving out there. We're driving in our car to go to the hospital. And my husband, LeVar, he looks and we're walking and he just stops. And he just starts crying. And I'm like, no, baby, don't cry. It's okay, it's okay. I said, we're gonna talk to God the whole time to the hospital. I'm like, we're good, you know, she's gonna be okay. This is just a mistake. We're good. Don't cry, everything's gonna be okay. You know, so we sucked it up, and on the drive to the hospital, it was like a 3-minute drive, and you know, I'm just rubbing on my stomach and I'm just pleading with God, like, God, please, like, not my baby. That's all I ever wanted to do was be a mom. Like, please don't take my baby, God, please, not my baby. You know, and we get into the hospital, they check me in, and they try to, you know, they put me on another ultrasound. Of course, they're like, no, not, you know, again, no heartbeat. And I'm like, okay, you know, so I asked them, I said, so what happens now? And they're like, oh, you know, we have to start preparing you for labor. And I'm like, labor? And I said, I have to push her out? And they're like, yes. And I said, no, I want a C-section. And they were like, well, we can't give you a C-section because we don't know how long she's been in there deceased for, and if we cut you open, you could get a really bad infection. I'm like, no, I can't push her out. I was like, I need a C-section. And anybody that knows me knows, like, I have, yes, she was my daughter, but I have a immense amount of phobia when it comes to like the deceased. When it comes to deceased things, like, it's just, I will like jump out of my skin. And so I'm like, okay, whatever the plan was, I was like, let's rock with it. So I had to go to the bathroom. Of course, they had to get a urine sample. And I remember like about to sit on the toilet, and I feel her moving around in my stomach. And again, like I said, I'm afraid of deceased things. So I go flying out the bathroom, like, oh my gosh, she's moving in there. She's moving in there. And they're like, no, it's okay. Calm down. It's just the contractions. The contractions are moving her body around. So I relaxed and I said, okay, you know. And so I remember getting back in the hospital bed, and you know, they're putting the IVs in me and everything, and start the Pitocin. And I asked the lady, I said, so where's she gonna go after I deliver her? And they're like, we're gonna take her to the morgue. And I just remember being like, wow, like my baby is about to go in a morgue. Like, words couldn't describe the pain that I felt. So of course I had another breakdown. They tried to force my cervix open with this thing called a Philly bulb, and it's like this balloon that they stick in your cervix, and they kind of fill it up with air gradually. And I remember that hurt so bad. And for me, I'm like an introvert, you know, like a lot of my family, like, I'm wild and crazy around my family. I'm wild and crazy around people that I know, but around the world, like, I'm very quiet. Like, you won't know my personality. You won't know that I have a personality until you really get to know me and I feel comfortable around you. You know, so for me to even scream at somebody was completely out of my character. But that lady tried to put the fully bulb in, and I literally, I cussed, and I was like, I don't effing want it. You know, I don't effing want it. And I just remember, like, I don't know what I was socking, but I guess I was socking the air. I don't remember exactly, but I just remember being like hurt. And I'm like, you guys, I'm already hurting, and you guys are gonna cause me pain even more. I was like, no, you guys are gonna have to give me the Pitocin, stick the Pitocin in there, and whatever else, another method, but I'm not doing the Philly Bob. So they was like, okay, fine. So I remember I had to wait like about 48 hours for my cervix to fully dilate. And I remember laying in the bed in the middle of the night, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I told the nurse, I said, I think I peed on myself. And she was like, oh no, honey, I think that's your water. So she came in there and tested it with the little strip, and sure enough, it was my water. And I said, okay. So about maybe 2 hours later after that, I had to push her out. Now, mind you, I was on a lot of drugs because they wanted me to be as comfortable as possible. They didn't want me to have to feel anything, because it was bad enough that, you know, my baby wasn't gonna come out alive. So they didn't want me to have to endure the pain and labor on top of that, which was, you know, nice, but I was a little out of my mind going through that. And I remember me pushing her out. It was time to push. It was pushing her out, and my husband, he kept going, oh my God, oh my God. And I thought he was, I don't know, again, I was drugged up, so I was like, shut up, babe, you know, like. And the nurse was like, no, he's okay, because I was pushing with my eyes closed. And so I was like, well, let me see what's going on. So I open my eyes and I look over at him, and he's like, his hand is in front of his mouth, and he's shaking, and tears are just flowing down his face, and he keeps saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, okay, you know, I gotta get through this, let's get through this. So she finally comes out, and the nurse removes her from me right away. And, you know, I'm like, they're like, you wanna see her? And I said, yes. I asked her to clean her up. And she goes to like try to wipe her, and her skin literally starts coming off. And I was like, she was like, she's been in there for a while, deceased. And I said, okay. All right, you know, so she was like, I'm gonna do the best that I can. So she, you know, just wrapped her up in blankets for me, and I couldn't hold her. My phobia, something I regret for the rest of my life, not being able to hold her. I held her in my wound for 9 months, but in my arms, I didn't hold her. And so I asked my husband, I said, babe, take her. And I said, you kiss her on the nose, and then you kiss me. So that's what he did, and that was my way of kissing my daughter. And so the next day they take her back to the morgue, and the next day he asked to see her again, and I couldn't see her, so he took her into another room on the side, and he held her and, you know, said his goodbyes. And so I was like, okay. So I kind of, you know, walked out of that situation strong. But when I got home, it was a whole different story. I walked into that house, and there was my car seat. There was my hospital bag. Looking down the hall, there goes my baby's room, and her crib, and her dressers that was full of clothes, and her closet that was full of clothes, her diapers, her wipes, her bottles, like everything. And I lost it, and I like sat on the couch for a second, and I was like, okay, I got this. And I got up and I ran out the house, and my husband had to snatch me up and put me back, and he like set me on the stairs of our apartment. And I remember our neighbor lady came outside, and she was like, you know, is everything okay? And I couldn't even respond to her. Like I was mute, and I couldn't find the words to even speak to the lady. And he was like, yeah, she's you know, we just lost our daughter. And the lady, you know, was like, you know, God got you, you know, you'll get through this, you know. And at the time I was like, I don't know how. I don't see how, you know. And so I was like, okay, you know, I go back in the house, and of course I have a complete meltdown. And I went through it so bad that, you know, my husband had to leave me alone for like 2 days. He had to leave the house for like 2 days and kind of let me, you know, get myself together, you know, because I was mean. I wasn't nice. I was hurting. I was overeating. I would sit and eat a whole Little Caesars $5 box of pizza to myself. There's no way in the world I can do that right now. But anything that I could find, you know, like I resorted to smoking marijuana heavily, like anything that could take me out of my misery, you know, I was like, let me try it, you know, let me try it. And so I was like, okay, babe, let's try to have another baby. And we tried again, and I got pregnant. And I told all my family, like, hey, you guys were pregnant again. This is good. And I'm like, I found somewhat of happiness inside. And maybe a day later, I go and use the bathroom, and I'm just passing clots. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm miscarrying. And so I sat on the couch, and I put my hands in my face, and I remember like trying to I just remember like kind of like clawing at my face a little bit, and my husband had to grab my hands, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I can't, like I just lost another baby like within a 2-month time span of each other. And I was like, I can't do this, you know, and got through that, tried again, lost another baby, had another miscarriage. So at this point I'm like, okay, something's not right. So I go to the doctor, and they told me, you know, you should have been cleaned out after you had her, because she was in there, you know, they didn't clean you out. I said, no, they didn't, you know, perform that DNC where they go in and scrape your uterus. And I said, no, they didn't do that. And they were like, okay, you were supposed to. So they gave me some really strong antibiotics. I had to stay out of the sun for like 2 weeks. But after I took that, like all of a sudden I was just like, you know, I gotta get right with me. So I was like, let me go enroll into nursing school, and let me go and, you know, just live my life and not focus so much on trying to have a baby. Let me just focus on bettering myself. And I'm always thinking about my next come up, you know. So I was like, let me go back to school. I'm a medical assistant. Let me go back to school and become an RN, you know, like let me do something positive with myself and stop trying to focus on having a baby. And so I enrolled into school. And this was like, I think like July. I lost almost a year to the date. No, I think it was June, almost a year to the date of me losing Promise. And from there, I found out I was pregnant like right before my husband and I went on our vacation. And that baby stuck. That's LeVar Jr. that you guys see. And I just remember that whole time like begging God, like, let this be a girl, let this be a girl, because I lost a girl, and all I wanted to do was kind of have a, like, you know, somewhat of a second chance to be a mom to a daughter, you know. And so, as you guys know, following them, it was 3 boys. And each time I heard boy, I got devastated. So when I wanted to try again, I was done, but my husband was like, no, you know, I want one more baby. And I said, okay, well, I'll give you another baby if you take me to Disneyland, just me and you. I just want it to be me and you. And he said, fine. You know, like, we'll do that. So I went to LA. We went to LA. I seen my grandma, who was like 91 at the time. And I said, Grandma, how can I get Yah to give me a girl? And she said, you have not, because you ask not. Meaning you're supposed to ask him before you conceive what you want. And I remember after we left LA, we got the kids together, we came in the room and we prayed and we asked God, like, when we start conceiving, you know, allow this baby to be a girl. Like, I can't handle any more pregnancies, God. I just, you know, I want my little girl so I can close up my shop and tie my tubes. And Story was born July 23rd. Promise's due date was August 23rd. So almost 10 years to the exact date of Promise's due date. And I just remember wondering if God was going to give me my girl. And at the time, right when I was thinking that, the song Don't Give Up on God Because He Won't Give Up on You came on. And I just started crying. I just started shedding tears, because I was like, God, you're able. You're able. Who am I to say that you're not able? Yeah, I've been let down 3 times, but who's to say that you're not able, you know? And he made that happen for us, and I was so elated. I remember when the ultrasound tech told me that, yeah, it's a girl. And she said, well, let me just be sure, because I told her, I said, we lost a daughter, I just want to make sure you're sure. And she's like, let me check one more time. And that time Story had her legs wide open. She said, oh yeah, Mom, she wants you to know she's a girl. That's definitely a girl. And I I was just crying. I was so happy, like words couldn't the joy that I had. Like God gave me that joy, and because he gave it to me, the world can't take that joy, you know. So it was a remarkable time, and it's been a blessing. And so with all of that being said, I just want to, you know, encourage moms out there to, even though it's hard, God has your back. Put your all into God. Don't be like me and try to run to a substance to make you feel better, because it's not going to feel better. It's just putting a band-aid over the situation. I had to go to counseling. I worked through that, but at the same time, my husband was my rock. He stood by me through everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, even though he had to leave. And that was a way for me to kind of check myself. Like, I don't want to lose him, because every time I would look over at him in the bed, I was like, dang, I see my daughter all over his face. And I was like, I can't lose him. Like, that's my whole heart right there. And he was every day, he was a reminder of my daughter. And I love that. So I knew I had to get me together. And so I wanted to share oh, over here is her little, her urn, her ashes in here. And this is her box. I had somebody I used to be friends with spill some chicken teriyaki on my daughter's bin. Not happy about that, but it is what it is. And these pictures are a little graphic because, like I told you guys, you know, they couldn't clean her, but this is her face. It kind of looks like Story a little bit. And here's another picture of her. And another picture of her. And these are her feet. And then this is another picture of her, like holding a rose. And as you guys can see, like her skin is peeling off of her little hands because she was in there for, you know, some days, you know, deceased. And then here I have her footprint that I hold near and dear, my baby's foot. It's her foot. And these are the roses that she was holding in her picture. And it's her blanket that she had, and her little outfit that she had, and her death certificate. And where did her hair go? Uh-oh. I have a lock of her hair in here. I don't know where it went, but it's in here somewhere. But this card right here, it says promise, and then her date of birth 8/14/08, 18 inches, 5 pounds, 13 ounces. So that's our little keepsake box of her that, you know, I hardly ever take out, and I keep near and dear to my heart, of course. So as I said, you guys, I just wanted to share this because without test in life, you can't have a testimony. And I know that hundreds of women, you know, go through this. You know, some receive, you know, miscarriages at an early stage. I've been there, done that. You know, some, you know, like me, fetal demises, 9 months, been there, done that, you know. So I know that I wouldn't be nowhere near okay if I got to see her smile, if I got to hold her hand. So the ones that have, you know, got to hold their babies and got to see them, got to grow up with their babies and lost a baby, y'all are the real MVPs. I don't know how y'all do it. You know, like, I know for me, my rock has been God, you know. And so when I lost Promise, all I did, I couldn't even be mad at God. I promise you guys, there was not one bone in my body that was mad at him. All I could tell him was thank you. Thank you for having her somewhere where I hope to go. You know, and from that point on, I knew that I had to walk as righteous of a life that I possibly could. You know I'll never be perfect, you know, but it doesn't mean that I can't be a good person. you know. And so I also knew that I could be pitiful or I could be powerful, and I knew that I couldn't be both. So I chose to be powerful, and I chose to get my mind together. I just remember the anger that I had. It was not nice, y'all. I was literally driving down the street, you know, looking for females to fight. Like, I would mug them, and I guess they could see the hurt in my eyes, because I promise you, I was trying to pick fights with anybody just to take my anger out on, because I was going through a bad with grievance. You know, there's like, you know, 5 different levels of emotions that you go through, and my anger was on a 10, you know. So I was literally driving down streets looking to fight females. I was giving them the most dirtiest, nastiest looks, but to God be the glory, nobody looks my way. Nobody. God saved me, you know, because I could have been in jail. You know, who knows where that would have took things, you know. But I just thank God for the woman that he's molded me and shaped me into being today. And I also thank him for giving me a daughter at the stage that I'm in now, because now I'm a woman, and, you know, now I'm a servant of God's, you know. And, you know, my daughter, she picks up my good qualities. She picks up me praying and praising, and, you know, she picks up me cleaning and folding laundry. You know, back then I wasn't doing that, you know. So for me, it's not, I can't base it off of my understanding alone. You know, I have to go off of what God says, and God's timing is perfect. And for who I am today and all that I have endured, story came at a perfect time. So I thank y'all for tuning in with me. Hope it wasn't too long, and the moral of this story is to be encouraged, and, you know, ask God for what you want. And if the answer is yes, I promise you, he will provide. So yeah, I know this was a down video. Hopefully not too down. But, you know, if you're new here, I ask that you subscribe, hit that thumbs up, turn on those post notification bells so that you can be alerted every time we drop another video. And until next time, squad up.